In this episode, Coloredepoxies will be creating an ocean floor with crashing coral waves in a brand new state-of-the-art cannabis retail space. Join us as we show you step-by-step how to install epoxy like the pros.
Welcome to Coloredepoxies, where we teach you how to install epoxy like the pros. Today we're at Capeway Cannabis. We're going to do a blend of a residential and commercial epoxy installation, and our goal is to do a beautiful ocean scene. So we have a 1,400 square foot floor. It's covered with VCT tile and plywood. We are going to self-level it with our white epoxy mortar system.
This space had a lot of areas where holes went straight through the floor. We use Carbondo to fill these holes. Carbondo is a great trick for filling holes because it dries fast, levels great, and can easily be sanded.
Our MFE epoxy is a modified flexible epoxy system. This is our trade secret that we mix with white thin set that you can buy at Home Depot or Lowe's. Our system is engineered to be bonded, to be mixed with this material, and we can self-level it and trowel it right over any floor. VCT tile, concrete hardwood, and it's self-leveling like a sheet of glass.
When it comes to making a good epoxy mortar base, knowing the right thickness and consistency is everything. For this floor, we used a special formulated MFE modified flexible epoxy resin and white thin set mortar. When the mix is just right, it should have the consistency and feel of a flowable pancake batter.
Let's take a look here. This is nice. A little bit flow. Pretty good, nice flow. Just looks like a perfect pancake batter mix. Flowing right out. Excellent.
The epoxy mortar is easily applied with a hand trowel. As our crew mixed, we laid down the epoxy mortar over all the floors. In areas where we had dips, it was important to add more epoxy mortar by pouring it into low spots and letting it self-level. Before we can get started pouring the colors of the ocean, it's important to go over the entire floor with a sanding screen and hand sander to eliminate any high spots and air bubbles that may have occurred. Once this is accomplished, we give it a really good vacuum, wipe down, and it's ready. 80 to 100 grit sanding disc and screens will work great. Be sure not to sand at a high-speed setting, as this will gum up your paper and not be effective. Pre-sanding will not be necessary if there are no air bubbles. Our epoxies are engineered to bond to themselves.
Today's day 2, and we're going to go forward and put our metallic epoxies on. We are prepped, we're ready to go, and we're going to do some amazing ocean detail and create the crest of the waves in the beach scene.
The ocean scene was carefully planned. On any metallic installation, have your colors planned out ahead of time. Before doing anything, we gathered all of our colors and began mixing pigments into our MFE clear epoxy resin. When mixing pigments, use a minimum of 4 ounces or more of pigment per gallon of epoxy. Once all the colors are mixed, we can add hardener as needed during the installation. As the colors shift every 7 minutes throughout the curing cycle, the epoxy begins to set, creating a marbleization effect. You can walk across the floor with spiked shoes and use denatured alcohol to lightly spray a fine mist to pop all air bubbles. To get the beach and sandy shore effect, we decided to use a sand-colored quartz. This was used to create a shoreline and pathways throughout the space. With one person staying ahead 6 to 7 lineal feet using a 6-inch roller, the other person is following behind, working in sync together with an 18-inch roller until the floor is covered. Once a significant area is covered, we begin broadcasting the quartz sand into the wet epoxy until completely saturated, working our way backwards. Broadcasting quartz can be tricky. Walking back over it with spiked shoes can leave marks in the sand. Be sure to broadcast thoroughly and carefully. If you have to walk out in spiked shoes, make sure you walk backwards and cover marks that are left behind from the spiked shoes. The next day, once the epoxy is dried, we use a stiff push broom to remove the excess quartz sand and then vacuum thoroughly. In order to achieve an ideal color and consistency, it might be necessary to do a double broadcast of quartz in places that are thin or showing through.
Okay, now we're at the point where the floor is finished. It's looking absolutely amazing. But now we want to give it a high gloss and that beautiful finish. This is our polyaspartic. We call it Super UV. This is a single component moisture cured polyurethane. It does not scratch and is very chemical resistant. Wait till you see the reflection on this floor.
With the activity and traffic anticipated for this location, Super UV was an ideal choice. It's always best to apply Super UV with a magic trowel, and always make sure you wear a quality respirator in a room with proper cross ventilation. Metallic epoxy floors are exciting and brilliant. They are always beautiful when you prepare, plan, and follow your steps carefully. Thanks for joining us at Coloredepoxies. Subscribe to our channel and visit our website for more products and information on how to install epoxy like the pros.